Now that we've looked at how to enqueue CSS and JavaScript on the back end and on the front end of a site using a plugin, we need to talk about how to do this conditionally, because it's often the case that you don't want to load your JavaScript or CSS on every single admin page or on every front end page. You just want to load it sometimes. So let's take a look at how we could do that. We're going to start off in our plugin code, and we have everything set up the same way as before. We've got our styles and our scripts. And if we come into our styles to start, you can see that we're conditionally loading CSS on a plugin settings page only. So now we break off the enqueuing styles into two separate stages. We register the style first, and then we only enqueue it when our top level page WP plugin is equal to hook when we hook into admin enqueue scripts. So this is adding a few things here. First of all, when we hook into admin enqueue script, something that we weren't getting before was the hook of the actual page that we're on. So this can be used to determine if we are on our plugin specific page. Now, top level page WP plugin would have to be changed if your plugin URL were something else, but in our case, this is set up to work properly, and then we're going to enqueue our admin styles. So these were the same styles we had before. It's just going to apply some padding and background color to wrap. You could play around with adding your own there. But this is going to be really helpful, especially if you only want to style a plugin page. You'll want to look back at this code. And what I would suggest playing around with is, of course, creating your own plugin page that has a different URL structure, different filing names, and try to make sure that you could get the same process set up for yours as well. Then coming down to our front-end styles, we are going to again register our styles separately from enqueuing them. Before we were just doing it as one process. Now we're going to do it as two. So we register our styles and then only on single pages. So if it is a single blog post or single page, then go ahead and enqueue our styles. And that's what this would do. Now you could change these conditions to anything that you want on the front end. You could check for other things going on. It may be that you want this on every front end, or it may be that you want to check for other pages and things like that, and you could explore how to do that as well on the back end. Now coming into our scripts, we're going to see something very similar. We have broken apart the, WP enqueue script into two stages. We've got WP register script, and then only on our plugin page, we've got WP enqueue script. Now I've also thrown in WP localize script, which allows us to send custom variables to our front end using JavaScript. So this would make a global variable WP plugin and then a variable .hook available. So you could load that out to test what page you're on as well. And if we come into our admin.js, we could see that we are alerting that. So if you haven't played around with localized scripts much, that's what this allows us to do. And this will just allow you to click through different pages and see what that hook is. So if you want to remove this conditional and have it load on every page, that will show you what this value for hook is. Get comfortable with that. Otherwise, you could just see it used as a check here to only load our JavaScript here. And then on the front end, we're doing the same thing as we did with our CSS. We're only going to load our JavaScript on the front end, and we're not doing any special enqueuing or plugging because you have different conditionals for that on the front end. So this shows you how to set up JavaScript and CSS only on certain pages. We'll take a look at this here in action real quick. We can see we've got our plugin menu. When we come in here, we can see we've got our JavaScript going off and our styling, which isn't on other pages. And then if we come to the front end of the site, if we click on our home, which should be a listing page, nothing. But if we click onto a single, post. Yes, is single is just a post. So then that will show, and then some different CSS will be applied there. Okay, so we can see all of that in action here. Go ahead and play around with this and get comfortable enqueuing JavaScript and CSS only in the places that you want it via a plugin. A very powerful thing to be able to do.